big bones?
I have this on my.
It was like, oh my god, the camera shot. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where they are in the camera.
I have this in my.
Alright, so where are my sit bones?
Your sit bones are like. Can I touch you?
Yeah.
Like underneath your butt.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Kind of like where
this big bone right here.
Yeah,
okay.
Where your hamstrings start almost.
Okay.
So it might feel like you're sitting on the back of your thigh versus your butt. And sometimes I even have to like pull my booty meat up.
I love that. Pulling your booty meat up.
You know what I mean? And then it
Right.
kind of that way you don't have to be rigid because now it's happening without you trying. Like I'm not trying to sit up.
Camille.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm excited about today. So just like last time, I really don't know much about what we're talking about. I know the topic, and the topic was really intriguing, especially with the way that I sit, with my posture, with all the issues that I've had with that. Tyler here, I'll let her tell you about her, is going to tell us why humans are supposed to sit in chairs. And I think that's really cool. So why don't you tell me about you, what you do, all of that.
Okay. I'm kind of in the middle of a shift, so I'll try to keep it short. But
Yeah.
I am a movement coach, a movement artist, and I am a corrective exercise specialist, so I help people move without pain as well. And I really like to focus on playful and joyful movements and finding something that people want to do, so they do it long term. And so I used to call myself a fitness coach because that's kind of like how I got into the game, the business game. But it's like I'm kind of tired of the industry a little bit, so I'm trying to. I'm like, I don't know if I want to say that anymore. So I'm transitioning into being like away from that word.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and so that's what I do.
Cool. Okay, so why did you choose those words that you did then?
Because my fitness journey started in theater and dance. Like I didn't even know about fitness, and then when I graduated college, that's when I got my degree in theater and dance. And I was like, oh, let me get a job, and I was like, oh, fitness is a job. This is kind of like what I do, kind of. So I just started working in the,
That's really cool.
And then I was like, oh, this is kind of. At first, it was fun. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of depressing. And I was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? And so it just started not feeling as appealing to me. Unless I was in a space, which was hard to find, where it was playful and it wasn't like no pain, no gain, and discipline and willpower. Like, and those spaces were really hard to find. I feel myself now kind of creating that space. And I don't think I want to create it in the fitness world. I want to create it in like, I don't know, maybe its own niche. I don't know what the niche is, but more like on the play side. Like I think adults need more play, period. And movement is like a good segue into that mindset.
I just think that's really cool. I think there's a lot of like how we do it too. Like healthcare is just awful, and the system is awful, and so it's depressing, and it works in the negative feelings.
Yes.
But like here, when we do it, we do weight loss, and we put somebody on the shots, and then now they're being positive because they're having that they're doing well. So now we can kind of ride that wave of positivity and feeling good. And so we work on habit building while they're in that positive loop.
Same here.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like the negative feelings. And when I say the word fitness, and you probably experienced too in your line of work, it's like when you say certain words, you attract certain people who are already
and feelings.
who are already in this like anxious space. And it's hard for me to help them as much as I want to. I work best with clients who are like, you know what, I'm over this whole
not feeling right.
Yeah, I don't want to feel like that when I'm working out. I don't want to feel like I have to work with people who are already set on not feeling like crap when they're exercising. You know?
So I think I'm almost there. She is big into exercise, and I'm absolutely terrified of it. And
I work with people like that too, but they're tired of being terrified.
Yeah, I think I'm almost to that point. Like, I think because I was so overweight, so I've lost 130 pounds.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I think now what I'm kind of noticing is like, I'll think like, oh, that's really far away. That's going to be hard for me to walk. Like, I'm going to be really tired. And then I'll walk it, and I'm like, wait, it wasn't that hard. But I think I still have these perceptions of, like, oh, you're going to have to carry 130 extra pounds to the end of that thing. And so my mind, like, gets scared.
Yeah.
And doesn't want to do it.
It's new for you to probably be in this body.
Yeah,
right?
yes,
Totally
it is
new.
totally new.
So the brain hasn't caught up yet.
Yeah.
And I think it's similar with people. I work with a lot of people with back problems.
Uh-huh.
And so once their back starts feeling better, their mind is not caught up with the rest of their body. And they're like, oh, I can't do that. And I'm like, well, let's see. And then they do it.
So when I started, something that totally surprised me was I think our bodies know what to do. I think and they want to move. Like, they want to move, they want to do things. It's just our brain that shuts it off.
That's exactly why I think one of the reasons why humans aren't designed to sit in chairs, actually.
So tell me about that.
Yeah, because I'll start with what you said is we want to move. Our bodies are designed to move. We haven't evolved to our sedentary nature. Like the fact that we're sitting here talking, this would have never happened like thousands of years ago. Well,
we'd be milling the grain.
Yeah,
right? Like,
maybe that's a little too soon, but a long time ago, we'd be like running around. We'd be sitting on the floor, or we'd be doing something while we talk. This is crazy, and so we have not evolved to that, and so our bodies need to always be in motion, and they adapt really well to moving, but they adapt really well to not moving, but not in a good way. And that's the brain, actually. The brain adapts really well to not moving.
So tell us these different processes.
Right. Wait, what do you mean?
Well, when we evolve to, or we can get happy with sitting versus when we can get happy with moving.
Got it. Okay. So, it's the brain versus the body, like we were just talking about. The brain is designed to keep you safe and comfortable and cozy and what scientists would call homeostasis, but we would call it in our comfort zone. And so, the body is meant to generate energy and consume energy and just have that pattern of go, 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 consume, consume, consume. And so when we sit a lot or we are stationary, the brain is happy. The brain is like, okay, we chilling.
No stress.
No stress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like this. And then, so the brain's like, let's keep doing this. There's no reason to go run outside.
No bear.
Yeah, there's no bear chasing us. Why we gonna run outside for? Like, it's raining. Like, no, we're not doing all that. And then, so the body's like, but we should. We need to do this. And the body's like, all right, cool. I guess we're not doing nothing. And then when you start to, usually, and this is kind of why I went away from the fitness industry, is because the only reason we start to move our bodies is because we're like, oh, we're sick now, and or it comes up in like excess weight, or it comes up in joint pain, or some
sort of negative representation
that affects our brain in a negative way, or it's used as punishment. Like if you're in school or your parents use it as punishment, whatever. It gets to the point where now your brain sees it, associates movement with this negative feeling.
Yeah, that's what I read,
Yeah. And so it will rebuke it anyway. And that's why we rely on discipline and willpower so much, because now we're in a place where our brain sees movement as a chore, exercise as a chore. We don't want to do it, even though that's why you feel good after you do it. But starting is so hard, right? The brain's not always happy after you do it. It's like, oh my gosh, you're freaking me out.
I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? And the body's like, yeah, okay, I feel good. You know, it's like this. And so when you get together, at some point, when you make it a habit in a positive way, it starts becoming, I don't know, the brain and the body kind of start working together. And I think play, like with a capital P, is really the secret to making that happen. As far as sitting, we are not designed to sit in chairs because, one, what I just said, movement. Okay.
We're supposed to be wiggling around.
We're supposed to be wiggling around. But then also, chairs are not designed, like, we're not designed to sit like this. Like,
I can't sit like that.
Yeah, I can't either.
No, why not? What happens?
Something doesn't feel natural about it. Like, this feels very, like it's hard to even have a conversation.
Yeah, like, so I'm sitting like this, so I can see you.
Yes. So typically, I mean, even if I'm wherever I'm sitting, it's a very, like, unprofessional, like, I'm just comfy.
Yeah.
Whatever I need to do to not be, like...
Are we supposed to sit like this? That's what I've read.
So, okay, in a resting position, a human usually sits kneeling, kind of like that, but with their toes flat, like the Japanese sit.
Like.
And that's usually hard for Westerners to do on the floor.
That?
Yeah. And you sit back, and then
my heels are touching my butt.
Yeah.
You can see the whole soles of my feet.
And not everyone has the mobility to do that in this place we live in. Also squatting, like in a deep squat. So I don't know if people.
How kids, whenever kids are playing, that's how they get down on the ground.
And
that's
they
what
be
they're
sitting there
doing
for like however long to do what they gotta do.
I love whenever I see my daughter doing that because I know that's just like a natural how she should be playing, like not sitting on the ground on her butt, like she's just crouched down like that playing, and it's
but
like
that's how we would do.
You can see the strength.
Yeah.
That she's maintaining whenever she's doing that instead of just like
flopping forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are the two main resting positions if they're gonna be like eating or talking or whatever.
That's how the tribal women sit, though.
Yeah.
You talk about like not being able to talk like this, but like if we were tribal women, we would be able to sit in a little semicircle and chat while we're doing our things, our washing or the cooking, the pulling off the peas from the pod, all of those things. So we
wouldn't be in chairs.
No, it'd be like those women, and they just sit like that. And it's
Sometimes they say like crisscross applesauce and stuff. I think that's a little newer, but I mean not that much newer. But it's always sitting like on the floor somehow. And then later, maybe I don't know, like medieval-ish times, whatever year that is. People started coming up with stools because the ground was so gross. And
because of because we started coming in together, and so
no plumbing and
that kind of
weird and
we have lots of people.
And I'm thinking about Europe right now, and I'm thinking about because we're Westerners and a lot of our culture is based on European stuff. So, I mean but outside of Europe, they probably weren't sitting on stools. Yeah. But in Europe, they started sitting on stools, but they were like little baby stools that they just made out of some scrap wood or you know what I mean. So, and a stool is not a chair, right? It's a little different. You can kind of squat on it. You don't have to.
Especially if it's short and it kind of is like so I guess it would just kind of reach your butt.
Like you'd be in the squat. You off the ground.
And your pelvis is also in a different position whenever you're in a stool versus whenever you're in a chair.
Yeah, I prefer bar stools. Like I like to perch. I like to sit high. Like, even at home, I like to when I eat dinner. I'm either sitting on the floor or I'm sitting in a high chair. So. We're thinking about getting to like an actual table. I'm like, I don't know if I want it.
Yeah. Well, lots of cultures don't eat at a table.
No.
They eat on the floor.
No, but we got family, they come over, like, my husband's Mexican, his mom is like,
unacceptable.
Yeah.
You must have a table.
Yeah.
You're a heathen.
And then my family is like, where are we going to sit? And I'm just like, whatever. So that's that. But what was I talking about? Stools. Okay, and then so chairs started. I'm gonna go back to Egypt, like all the way back to ancient Egypt before all of that. So that's when royalty started using chairs as a way to like be over people, like a throne. There was a throne. That was like one of the first chairs.
To perch over them.
To literally lord over them, and then they sit like this over time. So, but they probably still moved more than us. They probably didn't sit there all day. Yeah. So, I don't know if they have back problems, but so that was the thing, and then so time goes by. Now more people want chairs. People with money. They're not royal, but they're like, I got money. I got status. I'm a noble person.
I can get a chair.
Let me get a chair. So now they got chairs. And so it starts to be a status thing.
So it was more of a status symbol than a necessity.
It's not a practical thing at all.
Oh, that's interesting.
Not at all.
It's a status symbol.
It's a status symbol. And so, like, these big chairs here, if we were back in time, they'd be like, oh, they're important people. And they are important people. I'm just kidding. So I think that's why it's so important to realize that it's not a practical thing. Like chairs, I'm not saying don't sit in chairs. I sat in a chair to drive here. But just
you have to.
Yeah, just be knowledgeable about the fact that you don't have to sit in the chair all the time. And then so it goes on. More people want chairs. And then now I'm going to fast forward to the industrial period. And so now people are able to mass produce chairs. You know how it goes. When rich people got something, everybody else wanted it.
And then, now they can make them cheap.
Now they can make them cheap. So now everyone's like, we got a chair. We got a chair. But now it's not a thing anymore because now everybody has a chair.
Yeah.
So now it's become a thing where it's like normal.
Yeah.
Because we can make them for a penny. And
That's really interesting.
It is. I wasn't sure like what to expect of the chair conversation, but I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that. That's really cool.
Like I was thinking body mechanics. Yeah, that doesn't
make sense.
Really makes sense
I can
for
talk
us
about
to
that too. But
yeah, let's talk about that too.
But like the history of it, that's also really cool.
It really is.
But that makes me like the history is important to me because it's like that just reinforces the fact that our body mechanics aren't designed to.
Yeah.
And I wonder what we would look like if it was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wonder what our spines would look like and our hips would look like. I don't know.
We're meant to sit in a chair.
Yeah, I don't know how different they would look, or but
that's interesting. Like if we had evolved for this to be our natural position instead of that,
and it might happen.
It seems like we'd be a lot more rigid.
This makes me think of WALL-E.
Yeah, WALL-E.
Where they're in the those little they're like very round fat people just in their little like robotic move around thing. Like they don't move their bodies at all. They're just in their little robot world thing. That's what it makes. That's in our little chairs.
I mean, WALL-E. That's kind of what I think it's talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The fact that we don't move and we just sit all the time.
It's a very depressing movie.
It
is. You're gonna have to watch it.
Oh, it's a good movie. You have to put it back too. Yeah, especially after this conversation.
Yeah.
Body mechanics. Okay, so there is a way to sit without, and you already, I think one of you did it just now, and you said it's very rigid, sitting like this. So maybe I think it's the ADHD, but if I sit too long, like in a seminar or something, I get sweaty. I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like I need to put a blanket on the floor and just like chill, switch my position, like, you know. But you can't always do that. And so sitting like this, not everyone can do it. And what I'm doing is, I don't know if people can see, but I'm letting my back arch. I think a lot of people don't allow that natural arch to happen. And we're always told to tuck our tailbones. I don't know if anyone's ever told you to suck it in and tuck it in. That is horrible advice. Don't ever just suck it and tuck it. Don't do that. I was taught to do that in dance, and it's really bad. But so allow your arch to arch, and then you want to sit on your sit bones, not your butt.
What are my sit bones?
So your sit bones are.
I'm all digging around back here.
My sit bones.
I have this on my.
Bailey's like, oh my god, the camera shot. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where they are in the camera.
I have this in my.
Okay, so where are my sit bones?
Your sit bones are like. Can I touch you?
Yeah.
Like underneath your butt.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Kind of like where
Oh, this big bone right here.
Yeah, where your hamstrings start almost. Okay. So it might feel like you're sitting on the back of your thigh versus your butt. And sometimes I even have to like pull my booty meat up.
I love that. Pulling your booty meat up.
You know what I mean? And then it kind of,
okay.
That way you don't have to be rigid because now it's happening without you trying. Like I'm not trying to sit up.
Yeah,
but because I'm sitting on my sit bones, my shoulders are naturally pulled back. My spine is naturally doing the curves that it does. I don't have to think about it as much.
Yeah.
And so that's basically what I teach in my mini course that I'm gonna show you later. But it's
she talked about this mini course. You're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna post it down below, right?
Yeah. I'll send you a link.
Everything she talks about with that, it'll be down in the description.
Yeah, and then there's little exercises you can do while you sit to strengthen. And this is the kicker too. It will strengthen your spine because there is, I always mispronounce the word, I don't know. It's either milfidus, and some people call it milfitis, I don't know. But it's a muscle that's inside of your vertebrae. So you got muscles on the outside that you can feel. But then there's some that like kind of weave into your spine. And the only way that you can strengthen those is with this type of posture. So if you
sitting on the sit bones.
Or just when you stand or when you do things, being in this, I don't like to call it straight up because there's curves. There's no way your spine is straight. But yeah, in this kind of posture where you're being erect. And so this posture will help strengthen those muscles just from sitting.
Yeah, I feel like I'm maybe feel a little.
You can feel the
You're
muscles.
fatigued. Your muscles are fatigued.
Like right down here at the bottom of my back,
yep.
and then maybe a little bit at the bottom of my stomach.
Yeah, you might feel the hip flexors down there a little bit working.
Yeah. So I'd have to like practice this.
Yes, it's a practice for sure, and it's a movement, and that's why I think it's special too, like to think of sitting as a movement instead of just something willy-nilly. So you can be more mindful of like, okay, if I'm going to be sitting, and I'm not saying you got to sit like this all the time, but once you know, you can at least practice.
Yeah, well, I could remind myself.
And then you're aware, like now we're aware.
Yeah, I didn't notice it on my sit bones.
Yeah, no. Doesn't it feel nice though?
It does. It really does. So upper body is I can feel the muscles starting to get a little like, oh, this is new, but I feel more balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was talking to you before about being grounded, and like I think I feel just more balanced than when I was sitting.
This is grounding because like your sit bones are kind of like the feet of your hips.
Feet of your hips.
Butt
feet.
Yeah.
Butt feet.
Butt feet. Yeah. I'm glad that makes sense.
But no, it does. It does. It makes me feel more grounded.
Mm-hmm.
So like right now my feet aren't touching. It doesn't bother me.
Right. Oh, good.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay. I have to give my butt feet a break though.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how we do this in real life? How do we integrate? Like, we just sit there on? Is that all? What else do we do?
So, once you learn, well, one thing is not everyone can do it. So, because I noticed people's hips are really tight, so even allowing yourself to open up your hips to sit on your sit bones seems to be difficult. So, like, practicing that as much as you can. When you get tired, chill, just like any kind of exercise. And then you'll just be able to do it for longer and longer periods. And then also, you can...
This would be a good meditate intervention. Or the key. The key for meditate. So we practice meditation as just complete one-mindedness, but we focus it on not like setting a session, but paying attention to what you're doing. And so, you could integrate meditation into paying attention to how your body is when you're sitting. So just a few moments, every day, and just be attentive
ground
to
yourself
that.
into your body.
Ground yourself into your body.
Oh yeah, and then that practice will just take you everywhere else.
Yeah.
When you're...
It's crazy. You do those little things, and then that brain muscle gets stronger and stronger, and then you actually can meditate. It's crazy. But
yeah, I agree. So the more you practice, and that's really it. It's like there are little exercises that I have on the course just for fun, so people can use them while they sit. And one of them is just like tucking your chin in, because a lot of us kind of go into this.
I'm gonna be too aware of my body all day.
I know. This is what happens. People are like, I'm like, no, chill.
So I'm sitting on my sit bones and now I tuck my neck.
So this. So
just like a neutral.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to explain this so you don't over tuck it. But let's see. Your spine starts around where your nose is. So that's like the top of your spine. It's kind of like this little microphone here, right? And then your skull sits on top of it.
Okay.
Right? And it can go like this. You can even kind of feel it like rock on top of it. Even if you just barely do it, like you just kind of...
Yeah.
Right?
So you just want to like balance it there.
So yeah, you'll find this spot, and everyone's different because everyone's neutral spine is different. We all got different curves and stuff. And when you find it, like mine's probably like right there, then you'll feel that your neck muscle's working in a new way. So it might be, again, tiring. But now you don't have all this strain on the back of your head. What we tend to do, especially glasses people. Like, I know wearing glasses, I have to make sure they fit right. And if they start getting loose, it's really
so that you're not trying to balance.
Because if I do this, they'll be like, ooh.
I know.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. So this is kind of neutral, and it feels weird for a lot of people. They're like, but what? But if you look in the mirror, you can see how neutral you are. It feels like you're looking down.
It does. It does.
And it makes you not want to do it. And then if you need to look up, you just use your eyes.
Right. So I wonder if our eye muscles now have to reaccommodate for how we always hold our
And eye muscles, like all the stuff back there, is important for your posture too.
Because everything's connected. Everything's connected.
I was telling her before. So I have double vision. So like it just sucks. I've had it my whole life and I didn't know it. And I can see one thing, but those muscles have to focus. And so as I got older, it just got really painful for them to like refocus all the time. So that's why I didn't notice that I really had double vision, because it was always double.
You just compensated.
Yeah, it would be double, and then I would focus. I thought everybody had to focus like that. I thought everybody had to pick something and focus. I thought that was normal, but it's not normal. So if you feel that way, go to the eye doctor. But it changed a lot of my posture. So like I have the eye doctor told me that my head tilt was related to that. So it's trying to line up like my vision the correct way. So like if this plane isn't normal, it's going to put it to this plane. So that way it's easier to focus on. And so then that just causes just a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have astigmatism. And my left eye is better than my right eye. And so I have a tilt too, where I lean this way, and I have to just be like, no. And I can feel like if I relax my eye muscles, I can feel that the left one is harder to relax. Because it's like, I need to do this because I know I'm doing better than this side. And it's like, I don't know how to work my right eye, you know?
You patch your left.
Huh?
You patch your left.
Pat it?
Patch it.
Patch it.
So like, get a thing at the store.
I need a monocle.
Yeah. And then just like a couple hours at night or however long you want to do it, just however long works for your body. Because now that's the weak one. So that's the weak one. So that way it makes that one work. That one can't help.
Yeah. So it's just like working out like what I do for my clients.
Yeah.
Where, like if they have overcompensated, I'm like, let's leave that side alone and let's work that. Let's stand on one leg, the leg that's not as strong, right? So yeah, I can see that being a similar thing. Yeah. And everything's cross. I realize in your body a lot of things are cross. Okay. So like if your left shoulder is weak, then the front of the left shoulder is weak, then it's probably like the left part of the left hip is weak. I mean, part of the right hip is weak, right? It's crossed.
I think the best way that I've found to kind of explain that is, so let's say you broke your foot and they put you in a boot. So now we're just a little bit off, right?
Yeah.
So now that hit is going to start being really painful. Yeah. Like, because you put that boot, so now we've kind of realigned everything. So I don't know if it's the opposite or whatever, but you're going to start having pain in weird places because we're putting that on there.
Because everything is connected.
Because everything's connected.
Exactly. And so I think that's really, I'm going to be doing that like every day.
Yeah. As long as you can, just a little bit of practice, it makes that one stronger.
I might even read with it. Like.
and that's like also just something that fell out of fashion. That's the standard treatment for it, but no one ever wants to do it. And we look for quick fixes, and we can get glasses, and then we never actually focus on that. But I had a friend of mine took her kid to some specialist because he was a mouth breather, and he learned how to fix it. And I thought that was so awesome that we did that in the child. Because like now all those little sequelae that are going to happen the rest of his life he doesn't have.
Right.
Because he learned that thing. So now we're just
Was it a local doctor?
Yeah. Well, it would have been San Antonio or something. Can we get the info?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm about to take Leighton to Katie to see a dentist there to fix her mouth breathing because it's her jaw.
Oh, you know,
like it just causes, but it's.
I love him though.
Yeah, I don't think they have the right, like, specialization for that problem.
Okay. Well, this girl, they did training. It was like weeks. You know, you had to go to the classes or whatever, and they like physical therapy,
myofunctional therapy.
And yes, and yeah, I'll ask him.
Cool.
But they did it for maybe 2 or 3 months, and that was it.
I want to hear about making movement playful.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So let me transition. So making movement playful. Let's see. It all starts with. I mean, just like what we were doing now, exploring our eyes and our spines and our necks, right? In like a creative, curious kind of way. It wasn't rigid.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't do this and dissect the what's it called? A lot of corrective exercises do that, right? They like dissect the body. They're like, you need to work your scaling. You need to do this, you need to do this exercise, and you know, and I think that's fine in some cases, but when it's playful, it's just like, I'm gonna explore how it feels to do these different things.
So like, how could we practice this?
Well, we did just now.
Yeah, no, and actually absolutely know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so just being more, asking more questions.
Curiosity.
Yes. Being more curious about.
What would it feel like if I did walk to the end of that parking lot right now?
Yeah, instead of, and that's it too, like when you're playing, like think of a child playing, they're not thinking about an end goal unless there's some kind of game involved, right? But most of the time they're just making it up as they go. And they're like, oh, what will happen if I go into this closet?
Yeah.
You know, and then they're like, okay, not going into the closet, maybe, I don't know. But same thing with walking down to the end of wherever you're going. It's like, what happens if I try this? Versus, and it's like, play to me is like the playful mindset, I call it. It's like the opposite of anxiety. Because now you're not focused, because when you're anxious, you're focused on the future that you don't even know about. Like, you don't even know what's going to happen. And then play is just curious about the future. And what happens now, I don't know what's going to happen later, but I can control what happens now, and I'm going to go try it out.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like the basis of it. But when you get into
like movement without anxiety, movement without anticipation, all those things that I was saying I struggle with.
A thing I've been struggling with recently too. So I was going to a gym with a bunch of women and we had fun, but that schedule just isn't working out for me in this season of my life. So I signed up to start going to core and just working out on my own. And I've found that I have this like anxiety about going there and working out by myself, and it just feels, I like exercise. Lifting weights is fun for me. It makes me feel good. I enjoy it. Going to the gym by myself and doing this workout, being in my head the whole I don't know, but I haven't been in like 3 weeks.
It sounds like a plan, and it sounds like you're going to have an expectation for what you're going to have to do in that hour.
Yeah.
And if you don't do those things, you're going to feel bad about yourself.
Like, this went from a super positive thing for me.
Yeah.
Weightlifting, and then now I'm like, ooh.
What made it positive before?
I think like having people around me that I know and that I'm used to seeing, because it was a class.
Right.
So like we had fun and we're having conversations the whole time versus going to core just by myself. I don't know.
So what makes you feel anxious about being by yourself at this place?
I guess all of the other people there that I don't know. And it's not like this community feeling.
So it's not the workout. It's not the workout. You can come up with your workout and you can knock it out and do that
and enjoy it.
Yeah. So it's the environment.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a matter of just I haven't been enough. I'm not used to it.
So why do you want to go to that place then?
Like, why is that the place I chose?
If you don't like the environment stresses you. Why are you doing it at that environment?
Because where else am I going to do it?
Home.
I mean, I think it's good to get out of your comfort zone. I think that's one of the things about play too. It's not like play like, oh, we're just gonna like do all this fun stuff. Like, yeah, it's fun, but also it does get you out of your comfort zone. Like when you play
try new things. And you get over your fears and that.
It's the mindset behind it that allows you to get out of your comfort zone in a way that's more easeful. So
how would I shift that into something playful versus like
So one, when this is the work, the deeper work that I like to go with my clients after the movement stuff, is more of how can I just be me without caring so much about what's going on around me.
Me and my partner had a big talk about this week. We watched a video about raising Gen Z kids, and I just don't have a lot of the same views that a lot of other parents do. I like my kids risk. I'll take this. We have a fake risk in the world right now for kids, and I'll take more risks and allow them to grow up. And but we were talking about how that societal pressure is so strong. So like, I know we're right. I mean, I know we've researched this. I know we're making the best decision that we can, but still to go up in front of everybody else, like, is so scary.
And because we're social creatures, so we want to be accepted by the people we surround ourselves. That's like a basic, what's it called?
Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, it's part of the pyramid.
Yeah.
So it's not crazy, but at the same time, if you have a family, you have your friend circle, and you have it don't always matter. You have people who love you and who accept you.
Yeah.
You have your tribe. You have your community. I know for me, I can be seen as like a respectable weirdo by a lot of people.
I like that. I want that.
Because people do, especially like in the Black community. Like I'm not, they're like, "What's she doing?" Like, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, "I'm just doing me," and they're like, "Okay," but they're like, "Oh, like what they gonna do?"
Yeah.
What you.
Yeah.
And then you find the people who are kind of like, "Oh, okay, I like what you're doing," and then real recognize real. They recognize real as well, but they're intimidated by it.
I like
so if they do come at you crazy, just be like, well, this is what I'm doing. If you don't like it, that's fine.
You don't have to
You don't need to be in my circle either.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, I'm just telling you about it. You ain't gotta get your panties in a bunch.
Yeah.
If you want to, that's your energy that you're using, and that's fine.
So people learning that lesson helps them exercise and move.
Yeah, actually, one of the exercises I use with my clients when we get past, once they move, blah, 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 they're consistent, they like it, and they want to go deeper into, what is play as a mindset so I can, have better relationships, better conversations, things like that. One of the exercises I use is called Find Your Flow. I just made it up, but it's a theater exercise, and I set a timer. I'm like, okay, I'm setting a timer for 1 minute. Now, just move in space. So many women, and this makes me cry, so I'm trying not to cry, but so many women don't know what to do and they freeze.
Oh, I totally would
I freeze.
Totally
so many, and at first I didn't get it, because, I'm not you. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. But, I wasn't used to it, so when I was coaching, I was like, this is odd to me. And so, but there's a block there.
Especially growing up with theater kids who all knew how to do all this.
I mean, I wasn't a theater kid until I was 23.
Oh.
But yeah,
I'm raising a hardcore theater kid.
So they're already on their way to what I'm talking about. And so it made me so sad that so many women were not able to just move their bodies in space. If I say do squats for a minute, you're like, I'm gonna do squats for a minute. But if I say move your body for a minute, you can still do squats for a minute. It's still moving. You know what I mean? But so I had to add directions. I'm like, okay, move your finger for a minute. Pick one finger and move it for a minute, and then use that finger to move with the rest of your body. Lead with that finger. And they're like, okay. And they feel weird about it. They'll do it, but they're like, okay.
This is be me.
I would feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I can see it. And it takes at least a couple weeks for them to get to the point where they're like, oh, I could just move. I'm dancing. Don't make me dance. I'm like, it's not dance. It can be, but we're just moving in space.
Right.
And it's just me and you on the camera.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my clients are online. So, and then you're in your own space. No one's here but me and you.
I definitely see myself having these blocks.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
That's really cool to be able to kind of pinpoint that. So it's okay to move.
It's okay to move how you want to move. And so this exercise, I use movement as a way to kind of navigate it. But this is going to go into the rest of your decision making. As a parent, as a coworker, as a business owner, whatever. As a person having a conversation in a hallway, now you can be you. You have permission. This exercise showed you have permission to be you and make decisions authentically and not worry about how you look.
And how you're perceived.
Little things are important when they're important, but they're not always important.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I've learned that very few things are important right now, too.
Yeah.
There's very few things that are urgent. Truly urgent.
You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of people think I'm a little too chill because of that, but sometimes my husband does too. He's
It's why we pair up, though.
I like that. Not a lot of things are too, actually urgent.
Yeah. No.
I feel like everything's urgent.
Yeah, it feels like everything is. And I was like that for a long time.
We're moving, and I'm like, he's like, we need a pack. We're moving in 3 weeks. I'm like, I know. This is urgent.
Yeah, there are some things that are.
You need to pack your closet. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, that day before I'll be real busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and so
I like breaking it down so small.
Yeah.
Like just.
And that's just one of the exercises we do. We do a lot of grounding stuff. We do a lot of I use writing a lot involved into kind of this coaching work that I do outside of the movement stuff. And it really helps people.
Like journaling?
Yeah, but I guess with prompts, it's more like writing exercises. It's like one of my favorites is pick something and describe it visually. Like just write down all the descriptions that you see. So pick, I don't know, this table. And you just write down everything you see. And like you might start off real basic, like it's brown, it's hard, like, you know. But then you go into the details of it, like these little dark places, the shape of it, like, you know, and then you get creative with how you describe it. And you can write like 2 pages on this table. And that gets people to realize like, oh, I can just sit and like take things in instead of analyzing it. It just is.
Yeah. It sounds like I used to go to these retreats and they were like Zen retreats. It'd just be like a day. But you would go in and he'd give you a koan. And like it would be like snow in a silver bowl. That was it. Snow in a silver bowl. And that was one of the one I remember. And you just think about it all day. Like you just think about snow in a silver bowl. And at first you're just like, you get your first image. It takes a little bit of time to start to build it. But then you imagine, is the snow half full? Is it daylight? Is it dark? Is it reflecting? Is it all the way over the top? Can you see the bowl anymore? Like it. Yeah, those exercises are awesome. They really do help us. I don't know how they help us, but what do they do? What is it that they do?
I mean, for me, I have this constant ongoing thing in my head about like my list of things that I need to get done, and definitely a lot of things get lost off of that list. But taking a minute to think about something simple, like a table or snow in a bowl, instead of all that other craziness going on, is like, I guess, grounding for your brain.
Grounding for your brain to realize what's really important and what's not. None of that's important. None of it's more important than snow in a bowl, right?
And none of it is going to get done by me sitting here going in my head all day long.
And just being present. Like, I know it's very woo-woo. Like, it's funny, a lot of this stuff sounds really woo-woo, but I don't think it is.
It's actually not.
Do you want to read the text? Do you mind sharing some of those texts between us?
Okay, yeah.
So, just start from the, will you give me advice? There it is. So, I can tell people how I feel all the time, but like, me and Camille, we really know each other. Like, I want to give her honest, like, stuff. So, this is really how I feel. She reached out to me the other day and asked me some questions. Oh, we text a lot,
So I guess for context in the situation, I work here. I'm in a like fast track LVN to RN program, and then I'm also a single mom. So I have like so many things going on at one time. In the last couple of weeks, I started noticing that I'm putting weight back on. I've lost like 70 pounds, and I'm starting to see the scale like ticking back up slowly. So I text Robin, I said, I'm gaining weight. I think I'm just stressed. I told her I've tried Wellbutrin before and I didn't like the way it made me feel. Maybe I just didn't take it for long enough. Should I try it again? It's freaking me out to see my clothes getting tighter and the scale going up. So Robin says, do you want the standard 2025 American medical answer or what I really think? And obviously I want what she really thinks. She said, I think you could take the drugs but that the best treatment for actual results would be meditation. Find a program, a guided meditation book for nursing students. I'll look around too. You look stressed, you're doing a lot. It's not going to get better for a year. You need to figure out how to peacefully live in this situation.
And you know, like as a medical nurse practitioner, like that's not the answer I'm supposed to give.
Right.
You know, I'm supposed to agree
prescribe
the
the
drugs.
medication.
I'm supposed to prescribe the medicine. And so I sound woo-woo, you know, when I say it. But it's, if we're going to break down to just truly what works, this is what works.
And it's a science behind it too.
And it's a long-term solution versus putting a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
And I know that, but whenever I'm sitting here like,
yeah, it's hard.
yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, since we've had the conversation, I've actually taken some time to like assess what's going on in my brain. And I've spent the last couple of weeks just constantly thinking about all of the things I need to be doing. And there's so many things, and I hold myself to this really high standard. So over the weekend, I'm like, forget about all those things. It's all gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So I took some time and I just played with my daughter. We went for walks. We sat in the sunshine. I was like
She was probably so
present
happy
with her. Yes. That's gonna make me tear up. And it made, like, it helped with her behavior. It helped me feel better. Just taking some time to be present and not think constantly about the things that I'm not doing. This weekend, I was still able to get the homework done that I needed to. I was able to spend, like, present time with her. I slept. I went to clinical yesterday and I did fine. I came to work today and I've already gotten the things done. Yeah.
You were like red last week.
Yes. And it was literally just like making my head shut up constantly and being present in the moment. And that's such a simple thing that it doesn't seem like it would work.
It's gonna make me tear up too. One of the reasons why I started my business in the first place, and it kind of went through these peaks and valleys, I get distracted easily, but I wanted to help people, but I think women, like, release tension. We're so tense. And I see it in your shoulders a little bit when you speak, right?
You should have seen it last week.
Yeah, I was insane.
The shoulders fell all, like, I know, like, I remember one time I was in a play. I went to Greece to be in a play.
Cool. That's really cool.
Called Medea. It was a really intense play. Like, she kills her kids. It's an ancient Greek. It's like one of the first feminist plays in Western culture. And that part wasn't the intense part for me because I don't have kids yet. But she was also seen as like a barbarian. She was a princess. Like, she married the prince of wherever she was at. But she was also a foreign princess. And so she was seen as like this barbarian, and people was like hating on her and stuff. And like, I grew up military, so I didn't really, I've always been like American in my head. But like, when you grow up abroad, you're American, and when you come back here, you are black. And so I felt it, but I couldn't pinpoint it the way other black women can. They're like, duh. I'm like, there's something going on. And I'm
different here.
Yeah, I don't know, you know. And so when I came back home from this play, I was like, this is what they was talking about. And so I was like really angry for like 6 months. All the
foreign princess.
Yeah, all the like angry black women stuff that I was supposed to grow up with but didn't came, and I just felt it all in 6 months. You know, so I was just like. And then
Did you catch up?
Yeah. And then so one time I just like admitted it. I was like, I think I'm an angry black woman right now, and like my shoulders just relaxed. Because I was able to just allow it to be that. I didn't want to be that. I was like, I didn't grow up like that. I don't want to be that. But I allowed it.
Yeah.
You know. And
those moments are so important. They're what keep us able to do it.
Yeah, and like that, just allowing, kind of like what you did, is just allowing yourself to be.
Yeah.
Just made made everything relax in my jaw. And I just feel like we hold on to so much tension trying to hold ourselves to these really high standards. And I realize I don't hold myself to high standards because that's too much work. I like the way you guys do your podcast, because I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah, we tried the other way, and it's just, we weren't going to do it.
Yeah.
And it was like, we can either lower our perfection standards.
It made us weird.
It made us weird. It made us like the world, more like the world. And we didn't want that, and we just had to realize we had to give up our perfection if we wanted anything.
And that's what play is about. Like, right now,
I like that. Yeah, that is what play is about.
It is.
Giving up that perfection.
It is. And, like, I think that's why so many people feel unmotivated when it comes to exercise, if they're new at it or if they're, like, coming back from a long time. It's because they have this mindset, like, I have to do it this way. it has to happen this way because this is how the industry for the last 50 years has been saying that it has to be.
And there's so many different ways that it has to be that gets stressful too.
Yeah.
Ask two different opinions. Or
do you eat first? Do you do cardio? Should you do strength training? Is it this or this?
And that's why I don't want to deal with it though. I was like, ooh, no, okay, I can't. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because I'm going to tell you, like I'm supposed to say, this is the way, my philosophy. My philosophy is whatever way is going to make you do it the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, whatever way is going to, like, when I have a client, the first year, we don't do stuff that they don't want to do.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's how we are here. We only want you to do things you want to do because it grows. Yeah. It's crazy how much it grows. I didn't know that. But all we have to do, I think of it as like trajectories, right? So like we have a center and you have a decision for where you're going to go, right? Here, what direction you want to walk. But if you want to walk over there and you're right here, it's not much of a shift. Yeah. You know, it's just a tiny pivot. And then now your trajectory is going that way. Instead of, there, you were able to change it, but you didn't have to make those huge decisions to go from that end to that end.
You're not jumping.
We're not jumping. We're just starting out here. We're just changing our trajectory just a teeny tiny bit, and now we've made huge changes. And then people feel good about them and keep doing them.
And then they want to be challenged a little bit more.
Yes.
Like after, I have one of my clients, he was like, he had these like nebulous goals, like I want to lose weight and run the 5K and da. I'm like, let's fix your back pain and your leg pain first. And then so we did that, and then I got to know him, and like after a year, I was like, I think you would like kettlebells, like based off your personality and stuff, and so we started using kettlebells, and he was like, yeah, this is fun, and so. The next year, we just worked on kettlebell stuff. Like, we did kind of the corrective exercise stuff, but it was mostly kettlebell stuff. So he was learning, like, little tricks and flows, and I got more into kettlebell because I'm, like, training him to do kettlebell. So it was a lot of fun for both of us. And then he's, like, sending me Instagram stuff, like, look at this, I want to do this. I'm like, okay, we'll work on doing this, but we got to learn how to do this first, we'll do this. And then it becomes training, and it's fun. And then now it's something he can do on his own without feeling like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. Because he's enjoying it, and he knows how to kind of like find stuff he wants to do and try to put it together. He's, and then he writes his own programs and stuff now.
Yeah, it's just insane. I did not know our bodies did this until I started doing this job and doing it in the realm of positivity. And that's what happens over and over and over. Our bodies will be like, oh, we can do it. What else can I do? Oh, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? And when we do it in that way, it takes out that that room for failure. Yeah. You're not failing anymore.
That's another word like, that eliminates.
Yeah, failure. You're going to fail it. And there's really no way to fail it. Because even if you fail something, let's say you said you're going to do this tiny little thing. Let's say you commit to drinking water with me for that week. And let's say 2 days you just don't, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, did you fail? I don't know. I don't think you failed if you can look at yourself and say, what happened today that made me not drink those waters? If you can learn something, then that's not a failure. Yeah. So, like, you either fail or you learn. I mean, you either succeed or you learn. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't succeed or fail. You succeed or you learn. Yeah. Like, you could fail, but don't do that. That's stupid. Failing's stupid. Learn from it.
Yeah, and you could, like, wallow in it.
Yeah, you could wallow in your failure.
That's the failure part.
And that's downward spiral is when you wallow in that failure. Or you can say, I'm not going to let this be a failure. I'm going to let it be a step toward my growth. Mm-hmm. And so what happened? Why didn't I drink water? Why, what could I do to make it better next time?
What can I do to make sure I drink the water? Yep. How can I change the habits? Do I keep a water bottle next to me? Or when I wake up, that's the first thing I do.
Yeah, so if in the next morning you wake up with a water bottle to get you going, then was yesterday a failure? No, yesterday was a step to get you closer to drinking the water.
It's science. Yeah. It's like the scientific method, totally.
Yes, it really is.
And that's what I use too. And I think it's like one of my favorite things I came up with is called Pilates. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I made it up, but in my head I made it up. Mm-hmm. And it's like basically, it's like Pilates. I really enjoy Pilates, but you just lie on the floor or on the couch or the bed, and you do like these core and glute exercises while you watch TV or listen to a podcast or whatever it is you like to do while you chill.
I
And
love that.
Let's get Robin into Pilates.
I might do Pilates.
Yeah. Pilates is great. Like,
I mean, it's the first thing I've ever been agreeable to.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it a thing online, like online coaching.
So how do I do your Pilates?
So hard. Oh my god. What do? You just
like Do you have a class? Do you have it on your website?
I do have a class.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go to your website.
I have a class.
I'll look at your class.
I'll send you the thing. I tried to do like a cohort. Like I call it Chilati Slumber Party, where it's like 4 weeks of classes at night. I'm probably gonna do it again, but I gotta figure out. Blah, blah, blah. But I have like a little PDF with stuff on it. I can send you. And the best part is you're learning how to use your muscles efficiently. So you're not just like, oh, I'm gonna do it, but really like engaging your glutes in all the right spots.
Because you're putting that mindfulness to it.
And then the more you practice, that's probably like the hardest part. And the more you practice it, you'll be like, okay, I can do this while I watch TV.
Because now you identify the muscles, you know how to work them.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to work them.
And you don't have to push yourself past like where you want to put. Like I don't use a timer. I don't use reps. It's kind of like when you feel a burn, because you will feel a burn. You can either keep going through that burn as much as your mind can handle it, or you can just stop and move on to a different exercise.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that would be
Like it's the most chill thing that I probably offer. And I learned how to do that, or I learned that it's helpful. How did I learn? Oh, because my clients weren't doing their corrective exercises that I would assign them. I'm like, you gotta do these. If we're only gonna train twice a week, you need to do these on your own. And they just wouldn't do it. I'm like, what if we just
kept lowering that thing until we get to it? Because all we gotta do is trigger that body to start.
Yeah.
So we go low, 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 low until that body. One of my favorite examples, I had a guy who wanted to use his rowing machine. He had a rowing. And
I love the rowing machine.
He kept forgetting to row. Like he was like, I want to row every day, but I just forget. So I was like, well, when do you want to row? And he's like, I don't know, around 2. So I'm like, okay, set a timer on your phone. And every day the timer goes off. I just want you to think about rowing. Like I don't forget the rower. Like that's not the expectation. The expectation is we're gonna think about rowing at 2 o'clock every day. Every day we're gonna think about it. And then he did. And then after a couple of weeks where that's habit, like 2 o'clock's rowing time, you think about rowing. And then a couple weeks later it's like, okay, just sit on it. So you stand up at 2 o'clock, you sit on the rower. He worked at home. So you stand up at 2, you sit. That's all. And then a couple weeks later he's kicking off. And then I didn't even have to go farther because he's just
it's
doing
weird not to if you're sitting on it.
I know. Yeah. Why not go 2 times? And then you kick off twice. And then you're like, I kicked off twice last time. I do 3 times. And then you just do it. It's so cool. So like if you're not gonna do it, just do something less.
It's less
until you find. So this is the first time she's known me for 2 years and I've never agreed.
Never.
That was a quick agreement.
I know. I can do that. Yeah.
But I think it's been like 2 years of working towards that.
True. For me to even be open to anything. But also to bring it down to my level.
Yes.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Like she doesn't have to leave her house to go to a class.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
workout
You don't gotta get dressed. You can do it in your pajamas.
Yep.
I can stop whenever I want.
And then when you do have like a more intense regimen, say whenever that happens, you can always fall back on Pilates. I do. Like there was a time when this was when I was in California and it was raining. It was hailing, and the gym was right here, like in my apartment complex, and my apartment was right there, and I had to make a choice. And it was at night, and I was like, I'm going to my apartment. And I had a plan. I was like, I'm gonna do this at the gym, and then I'm gonna go home and chill. No. And my apartment was so warm and cozy, and I like showered and put on my onesie. I was like, ooh, ain't no way. And I was like, I'm just gonna watch my show. I was watching Dark Crystal, and I felt bad. I couldn't enjoy the show. Because I was like,
your body knew it was right.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going outside, so what are we gonna do? And then I was like, oh yeah, Pilates. I mean, it wasn't called Pilates at the time, but I was like, oh yeah, I can do the thing that I do with my clients. And so I still use it.
Yeah, so then the day's not a failure because you did something.
Yeah, and like
you succeed, you're awesome.
Yeah, and I've been working out for like almost 10 years, and I still use it. So it's like it'll always be in your toolbox.
Yeah. Okay, well I thought this was really interesting.
I know we talked about so much.
Yeah, we did.
This was like 3 conversations.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
I would just say, it's not woo woo.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's not.
It's not, and it's science because when your body holds on to stress, it like holds on to a lot of the fats that we have and nutrients and stuff because it's worried that something's gonna happen.
Something's gonna happen. We're not gonna be able to. We need to eat. We're gonna starve later. Feast or famine.
Yeah, and so like releasing tension is releasing a lot of things, and I think that's the sitting.
Yeah,
the sitting.
Oh, I think this was so great. I really, really appreciate it. So, once again, Tyler.
Yeah.
What's your last name?
Hurtado.
Tyler Hurtado, and she has her website. It's spinally free.
Yeah.
That was so cute.
Oh, I like that.
Spinally free. So her website, we'll have all that down there. We'll have your class for.
Like I'll have the Pilates. I'm probably just gonna start like a little wait list to see what time I want to start it off again, and
cool.
then I'll send you also the link for the strengthening your back while you sit course.
Yeah.
Like a 15-minute mini course.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We'll get all that posted. Well, I really appreciate it.
This was
great
really
to meet
cool.
you. Yeah, I loved it. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
You must have a table.
Yeah.
You're a heathen.
And then my family
oh
is like, where are we gonna sit? And I'm just like, whatever. So that's that. But what was I talking about? Stools.